can't make it are able to know everything. So without further ado, I will let Haley, our ambassador, present our first speaker.
Actually, Johanna will present it first.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, go ahead.
Good. Okay, so first up is David, who's going to present the Rome program. So it's going to be very interesting to hear about it.
All right, well, thanks everybody. I am here actually during my office hours, so I'm gonna jump out after I do my presentation, but I think Nicole can handle any questions that come up about my program specifically. And I think that I will just go ahead and share my screen. I'm gonna put the start button on my timer, so I only go my allotted 8 minutes. So there I go. And here we are. So my program is in spring of 2022. We will be leaving a little bit after school officially begins for other folks, January 31st, and then the program will be over on May the 1st. Italy, as you probably know, is kind of centrally located in Europe, and Rome, of course, is centrally located in Italy. So it's a great place to be. Of course, we're all thinking about what's the situation with COVID, but I'm really optimistic that by the time we get there, things will pretty much be under control. So hopefully students will be able to travel quite a bit. So I'll just go over kind of the basics of my program. Right now, it's double or triple occupancy in a shared student apartments with kitchen, bathroom, and a general living area provided for the duration of the program. I do want to emphasize, and I'm sure Nicole would want me to emphasize, that this is subject to change based on what happens with COVID. But wherever you are, there will be somebody, a contact person 24/7 at the very least at the Accent Center. So there's always somebody that you can reach any time of the night or day if you need any assistance. And right now, the student housing is in Trastevere, which is just a little south of the center of Rome. And here's a picture of the Piazza di Santa Maria, place where, as you can see with this little fountain, that there's a lot of people hanging out. If you go on the program, you will probably hang out there yourself. So the educational aspect, the classes are at the Accent Center in Rome, which is in the center of Rome in the Piazza dell'Orologio. There's optional cultural activities throughout the semester. One of the things you get is a Rome transit pass for the duration of the program. And that is a really useful thing because you can go on the buses, the trams, and the subway for free, basically the entire time that you're there. So the courses that we're offering in our semester are contemporary fiction, which will be books about Italy, written by Italian writers, written by European or North American writers about Italy, and creative nonfiction that will probably mostly be writing about your trip itself. And I realize that most folks are not going to be English majors on the trip, so I will adjust the classes accordingly. And then we've got Art History 104, which is history of art from the Renaissance to modern. And that will probably mostly focus on the Renaissance and Baroque period, since that's where Rome is particularly strong. Then everybody will be taking an Italian class. Most people will not have any Italian whatsoever, and they will be enrolled in beginning Italian. Great teachers, native Italian speakers. And then if you've had any Italian, then there's opportunities for further classes. So if you've taken Italian 1, there's Italian 2. If you've taken Italian 2, then they will make Italian 3 available. Oftentimes those classes are really small, and which is all the more reason that you'll get to really learn Italian as well as you can. As with any study abroad trip, ideally all students are taking all these classes so that we can all be together as much as possible. There are opportunities to potentially swap courses around, but that's something that you would want to talk to me and Nicole about before you jumped into that. So the program requirements for my program and the other programs that will follow: minimum GPA of 2.5, must have successfully completed 12 college units, in other words, 1 semester. You don't have to have done that at City College though. You must have passed English 110 or its equivalent elsewhere. That's basically the first semester English class. You do have to be 18 years or older, and you must be in good academic standing. But of course, if you have a 2.5 GPA, then you are in good academic standing. There's no major or language requirement, as I mentioned earlier. You don't have to be a City College student, but you will be one that semester. Should change this down to spring 2022, the semester that you're accepted. So here's a few pictures of the Accent Center classrooms. You can see in the upper left-hand corner, the building that we're in is an old bank building, I think from the 18th century. And the classes are kind of up here towards the top. So it's a pretty cool building. It's, you know, it's gotten more high tech over the years. So there's computers and stuff like that. But unless things have changed, mostly we'll just be sitting in kind of seminar seats in these, you know, very comfortable rooms that look out over central Italy. Things to do in Rome, you know, just about anything that you can think of. So in addition, my program, like the others, will have excursions that you will have paid for when you pay for your trip. We'll be doing a 3-day, 2-night excursion to Florence and Venice. That's in the north of Italy. Typically, when we're up there in Venice, it's Carnival. And so that's a pretty fun time to be there. It's a little chilly, but very cool. And then that will be probably in February, and then probably in April after spring break, we'll take another similar excursion to the south of Italy, to Sorrento and Pompeii and Capri and similar places like that. But there's also independent travel opportunities during the spring break after the program ends. I know I've done this twice before. I've had probably half the students have stuck around afterwards to go traveling in Europe over the summer. And here's just a couple of quick pictures of the places we'll be going to. You also get a walking tour of Rome the day after we arrive there, just to get you kind of a sense of how the city's laid out. So the costs, you know, with all these programs, it might initially seem steep, but there is a lot of financial aid available, and I'm sure that you guys will be talking about that later on today. So it goes from $300 to $3,000. The Financial Aid Office has been, I think, a really good partner for study abroad. You can use your promise money for study abroad. So California Promise also, any money that you would normally have to get you through whatever semester, in this case, spring 2022, is money that you can apply to your trip to Italy. So you guys, I know, will be talking about the application process and so forth. The application fee of $20.50. Right now, we have our application deadline for October the 8th. 20 student minimum. I guess there's no hard and fast maximum, but I always feel like 30 students is about the right number. And great airfare prices if you want to go on the study abroad plane with everybody. Here's my email address, especially since I'm going to have to step out after this. It's just my last name, Starkey, my first name, D. David, at sbcc.edu. And that's it. Ciao for now. I will stop my share, and thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Have a good one.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. All right. So now we will have Nicole present our next speaker.
All right, guys. So now Melanie will present the London program. Thanks for joining us today, Melanie.
Thank you. I think my students thank you because I had to cut my class slightly short. So, so there's been thanks all around for this. Thank you guys for putting this on. I'm just going to start with a few key details. I'm not going to go over anything that David told you about Rome. The most basic things stay the same for the program. So the same requirements, the same GPA requirements, and so on. All of that is the same. And I just want to say, I'm feeling really good about London 2021. This is our third go for it. It's because of COVID, but the UK is opening up. They're doing a different vaccination scheme than we are. And they call them jabs, not shots, but I think and Paula, you probably know this more than I do, but I think we're at 24, maybe 25% now of the entire UK population has been vaccinated.
I did hear something similar, yes.
Yeah, so I think it's looking really good. The applications are coming in from students, and I spoke to a very, very excited mom who was like, it's going to happen. So fingers crossed. I'm going to show you only part of a longer presentation that I have, but I'm going to start with something that just might look a little silly, but it's my phone. It's my phone film or video, right, that my phone made of my trip in 2018 to London. And that was at the end of my study abroad to Madrid. And I went to London, which is where I was born and where I'm from. I went to London for my birthday, and I thought, I have to bring students here. And so these are the images that are the genesis for the program. I'll show you this, and then I'll give you a few key details. And I have until 12:24, is it? Is that done?
Yes. If you go over a minute or two, that's totally perfectly fine.
I think I will hit this on the head. Fingers crossed. Okay. So, oops, can I share screen? Do I have that ability?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So I love this because this is the DLR Docklands Light Railway, and this is their sort of subway sign. And I love the idea, everything you have ever wanted is on the other side of fear. And so let's see what Apple made for me and us. Who wants to go? Oh, come on. Yes, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. So it's just snapshots, right? But I think it really gives a sense of the place. And why I think London is so exciting is it is such an old city. And okay, Rome is older, maybe, probably, yes. Rome is older, but London is this incredibly vibrant city. It's still a world center, and it's been that way for such a long time. And this disjunction that you saw between the really old buildings and the super modern skyscrapers, that really speaks to the core of the city. And so let me give you a super fast, this is only part of this, so sorry. Clicking way too many buttons at the same time. So this is only part of the presentation, the London presentation that I do. But I think it will give you a good sense of the key elements that we will hit. And let's see. So the goal of London is to see London through curated classes. And part of the entire London program is to bring London as a text into the framework of the program. So it's London City as text. So we will be reading texts about London in London. And so we're going to be reading a short story by Virginia Woolf called Kew Gardens. We're going to go out to Kew Gardens to read about Kew Gardens. And you will also understand, I hope by the end of this, a framework for understanding cities, so that you will leave having a better sense of London, but also with a methodology that allows you to look at any city. And we have 4 classes for you. One is a survey class. That is the class that speaks most to me. Do not worry, we are not starting in the past and inexorably moving towards the present. We're going to start with the present, a book called British, written by a woman who went to Cambridge. She's a few years older than you, not much older than you, really questioning what is it to be British. Her father was German, her mother is from Ghana, she's British. What is multiculturalism in England? And even though we use that term multiculturalism, they use it slightly differently. So I'm going to start with the present and we'll just sort of move back and forth. We're also going to be offering a Shakespeare class. And what I want to do there is link the Shakespeare, whatever is going to be showing, to present interpretations of some of Shakespeare's plots. So we'll be looking at older text and newer ones. We're going to go see lots of plays, and your assignment for that, it's called TikTok Shakespeare. So you're going to be making some TikTok videos and about Shakespeare. It will be fun. It will be fun. You're doing it, so it will be fabulous. We have 2 other classes. I think I don't know. Are you having this? It's the 2021 Moment 2, which is actually 3. I really mean 2 other classes. One is a modern European history class, because I want you to be able to understand when you go and you travel to other places in the UK and hopefully onto the continent. I want you to understand the framework that gave rise to Brexit and the framework that's also giving rise to modern Europe. And then your last class is going to be a contemporary art history class. And my goal, even though there's an amazing AIF center, beautiful redone building, my goal is that we're going to be in that building very, very infrequently. You're going to be out and about. You're going to be taking classes in the museums. You're going to be walking around the city with me. We're going to be going and seeing plays. We have a few key elements here. There's visits that AIFS puts on that you can go to. One extra, if you're interested in, runs about $675, I think, is to go up to Edinburgh, because I wanted you to see Scotland. So it's the United Kingdom, but Scotland's very different. So we're going to go up to Scotland for a trip via train all the way up through the locks out to the Isle of Skye and then back. And then this is included. We're going to go and see Oxford and spend some time there. We're going to go to Stratford upon Avon. We're going to visit a palace that was built because a general won a war very well. And you're going to be able to, I hope, get a sense of the fullness and the richness of not just the UK, but via this city as text image, a fullness of how we understand cities, how we live in cities, how they shape us and how we shape them. So I think I made it. I went over by 1 minute. So.
No, everything's good. London sounds like a great program. Honestly, sounds. Awesome. I want to go.
Yes, it's less money than Rome, by the way.
That is something. So, yeah.
London is super expensive, but you can do London on the cheap, and you get to also be a student member of Imperial College. So that is so cool. Right? So you're going to actually be part of their student union. You can join their clubs. You can go to their pub. What are the, oh, Sam, hi. A student of mine right there. What are the Hi, our dates are, I want to say, I should know this, but I want to say the 18th of September to the 10th of December. I think I've got that right, but it's roughly that. And I know where to find you, Sam, so I will send you those details. We're starting late. We're going late because I want you to see what London looks like in the winter, especially for Californians who get to visit weather. Yes. We can go visit.
Yes. We have no weather here. It's
No
just
weather.
all sun.
You can buy raincoats and explain to people what you do with them. I mean, it's an amazing opportunity. Yeah. All right, I'll
Awesome.
stay. And I know I've used up too much time.
Yes, if you guys feel free to ask questions. We also have a question portion at the end. So, stay tuned. And next we will have Haley present our next speaker.
Yes, so we're gonna have Michelle from the Bali program give us some information about Bali, and I'm so excited to hear it. So thank you so much, Michelle.
Hello, I hope my internet connection is okay. It's seeming to be a bit unstable. Am I reading all right? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Oh, now we can't.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't have great internet at home. But I want to share with you a bit about our Bali study abroad, which we did our first one in spring of 2019, and it was just an absolutely magical experience, and we're so excited to offer it again. So this will be spring semester, and we'll be in country for just March and April of 2022, but beginning with a little bit of online and in-person work if people are around. So this is a really wonderfully unique program, as all of the other study abroads. It's designed to be absolutely immersive, both literally and figuratively. And there are I think the biggest piece about a study abroad, no matter where you go, is that you will be in deep community with people that you will probably spend the rest of your lives connected to. I've seen that really echoing out into the future with the students that were together in Bali in 2019. This program, we're all living together and working together. And I wanted to I'll skip that. I could do a longer introduction to myself and Betsy Phillips, who's going to be teaching other classes. But first, just to tell you the courses that are being offered. So this program is designed so that it fulfills all of your IGETC requirements, keeping those in mind, especially who are not science majors and who would like to quickly get their science over with, but you might find yourself lured into it. The two classes that I'll be teaching are marine biology, which is a lecture and lab class, and physical oceanography. These two classes link together really, really nicely. So it'll almost seem like one class, because we can't talk about a fish until we talk about what the fish world is like. And all of our labs pretty much will be in the water. We'll be snorkeling off very shallow, beautiful coral reefs, and getting a chance to see all of this real time. Very often we'll be just learning right under trees, and then jump to the it will look like as we're out there. That is an actual picture of a student looking at a manta ray as we are doing some research on them on the south side of the island. And then Betsy will be teaching a social science class and a anthropology class. So we'll be doing media, culture, and society, which will give us a chance to dive really deeply into some of the arts and how we relate to it. So we'll be doing some mask making and making of traditional chanang sari, which are offerings, and weaving. And then the anthropology class, witchcraft, magic, science, and religion, is this incredible way of allowing us to really visit temples. And we'll be doing a lot of that and really learning about them, learning about their history and their purpose, but also giving us a lot of time to just soak in the history and the feelings of that place. So incredible place, and we'll be living in 4 different areas of the beautiful island of Bali. We'll begin in Ubud, which is that center red star. Actually, we're gonna begin right here in Sanur for a moment. So this is kind of the cultural center. We'll go to some performances. We'll teach you how to bargain in a market. You'll get a sense of the Bali that most people know, and then we'll take you up to the north coast to a beautiful quiet town that's pretty unique in Bali. Bali is mostly a Hindu island in a very Muslim country. However, this town is about half and half. And so you get to really experience both cultures very strongly and be introduced to snorkeling and coral reefs in a very protected, beautiful bay. And you're also not too far away from the only national park in Bali, beautiful area, and also some world-class diving. If you're a diver, we'll have time for that on the days off. And then, of course, on the way, we'll be traveling through the mountains and stopping in waterfalls and exploring incredible rice fields. And then we'll be going to the east coast to Chandidasa, which is astoundingly beautiful, and have a chance to do more marine science, but in a different kind of area where you're having bigger ocean offshore and many more temples that are different. And then we'll spend the last bit of the program on this little island that sits off of Bali called Nusa Lembongan. And there is where we will be looking at the manta rays and groves and really enjoying our last days there together. So we're doing a informational session in more depth tomorrow night at 6 p.m. So you can join us on Zoom for that and ask us any questions you want. And I am available for any questions.
Thank you so much. That sounds so cool. And to see, all the little critters and just to really be immersed into their culture is something that I think, people should experience, which is something so cool. Thank you so much. So now we will have Jasmine present our next speaker.
Hi, everyone. So now we will have Paula who will now discuss the scholarships and fundraising to make your trip possible.
Unmute myself. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. Sorry. My name is Paula Messina, and I work with AIFest Study Abroad. We are a study abroad company, and my computer's a little slow. But we are a study abroad organization that works with colleges and universities across the country to help set up and run their study abroad program. And we are so thrilled to be working with Professor Eckford Prosser to run her London program. So we look forward to welcoming you to London soon. Today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about funding opportunities. And I am going to focus on scholarships, but we also have lots of information on creative funding. And this presentation has a lot of info in it, a lot of detail and a lot of links. So we're going to make it available to you after the presentation so that you can use it as a resource and you can use those links and hopefully apply to as many scholarships as possible. When we talk to students about study abroad, we want them not only to think about it as an amazing experience, as a transformative experience, a chance to be out in the world on your own and grow, right? Become a global citizen. It is so transformative, but we want you to think about it as an opportunity to set yourself apart from your peers, an opportunity that you'll use later on to get hired, to get a job, maybe to get into that very competitive grad school option, to use it for transfer as well. Fewer than 10% of US college undergrads study abroad. Only about 350,000 students every year really take the opportunity that their schools offer them to go to a foreign country and immerse themselves, earn credit and bring it back. So having this opportunity on your transcript, having it on your resume later on, and talking to your future employers in that job interview about what you learned, what skills you developed when you were in this completely new environment, the opportunities that you had, what you studied, how those classes could be applied to real life, really help you stand out from 9 out of 10 people that you're competing with. So it is definitely an investment. It's an investment in time, in money. We understand that, but it's an investment in your education and in your future that will have a lot of ROI. Hello, all those business majors, a lot of return on that investment. We're going to talk about affording study abroad and how to make sure that you're using every resource possible. You're trying every means possible to come up with the funds, right? So first you need to know your finances. You need to know how much study abroad is going to cost. So we will be providing you with this great Excel sheet link that Nicole from your study abroad office has set up, and it helps you kind of organize yourself. But you want to know how much your program fees are, what's included. You want to know how much is not included in the program fees, such as airfare, passport, if you need any extra insurance, homeschool tuition or fees, how much you'll need when you're abroad, if the books that you'll have to buy for your courses, how much you'll need for food if that's not included, for fun and independent travel as well. We want you to get organized and know how much money you'll need. And then you will need to take advantage of all available resources. There is no golden ticket for funding your study abroad. There's no one way to come up with all the money that you'll need. So you have to use every single resource that's available. For example, all that financial aid. I talk to a lot of community college students in California because it's so affordable here. I talk to a lot of students that don't file for financial aid because they automatically assume they won't be eligible for any money. Financial aid includes free money that you have to have financial need for, absolutely, but it also includes a variety of things like loans and different grants. Definitely, no matter what your financial situation is, apply for FAFSA, do it now, and then you can talk to your financial aid about what you're eligible for, what kinds of things that you have. And then ask about scholarships as well. Your financial aid office has wonderful information about all kinds of scholarships. Remember, you all are college students. You can apply for any scholarship that is applicable to a college student, whether it's a study abroad scholarship or just attending a college scholarship. And then apply. So many students don't apply because they think, oh, my GPA is not good enough. I don't do community service. We have a million excuses. You already have a no. Get out there and you never know. I love this saying, everything you have ever wanted is on the other side of fear. Don't fear the scholarship. Get out there and apply. Organize your applications. Again, we have a sample spreadsheet for organizing your applications. Because there are so many, you want to make sure that you're not applying to the same one twice. It's happened. And then write a really good personal statement, telling your story. What is the past, the present, and the future? Answer the questions in the scholarship prompt, and then also get a good letter of recommendation or even 2. Remember that professors are busy. They don't have usually a quick turnaround time. So ask and give them a few weeks leeway to get you a good letter of rec. I would start doing that. That would be one of the first things I started with. We have links to a lot of different scholarships here. This Gilman scholarship is the study abroad scholarship, right, for in the US. It is a scholarship for study abroad. It is for Pell Grant eligible students. So those of you who receive the Pell Grant, this is the scholarship for you. And they give special consideration to non-traditional destinations such as Bali. They give special considerations to community college students. You're all community college students. So if you get the Pell Grant, we definitely want you to apply to the Gilman. We did a special Gilman application session a few weeks ago. I think it was in January. And I'm sure that Nicole has the recording. You can watch that and it'll help you get started in that application. The Fund for Education Abroad, again, more study abroad scholarships. NAFSA is a professional organization for international educators. They have a database with lots of lists of scholarships and grants. Studyabroad.com, if you click on that link, it has lists and links to several dozen scholarships in there. Not all are study abroad scholarships, but they're all scholarships for college students. Study abroad funding there as well. Sorry, I got to go back. My next one, these are more links to scholarships. GoOverseas.com, studyabroad.state.gov. Zonta is, if you're a business major, they have women in business scholarships, and then there's the travel scholarships as well. There are a lot of businesses like Hostel International USA, which offers scholarships for travel, and study abroad is included in that kind of travel. And then think about, look, you just got to get on Google, get online, and start to search for all kinds of scholarships, location and major specific scholarships, scholarships from large corporations like Coca-Cola, Staples, Walmart, Ford, see what they're offering. If you work for any large franchise, you work for a supermarket and you're part of the union, your parent works for a large corporation, you want to inquire about their scholarships as well. Some companies will match scholarships. So if you meet a scholarship from, if you win a scholarship from one place, a company might match a scholarship. So definitely get out there and ask. Wildcard scholarships, we have some that are for heritage, like there are Polish American scholarships, there are Latino scholarships, the world left-handed scholarships, you never know. Get out there and search. And then local organizations as well. Especially if you have a family member that is part of any of these local organizations, you definitely want to find out if they do support. Your write a winning essay. I think this is, when I talk to students, this is the #1 barrier that they report in writing. I don't like to write essays. I do enough in school. I don't feel like it. I can't think, I mean, if you spend writing essays, it takes a while. Revising the essay takes, another time investment. Having someone look it over and then revising it. Generally personal essays take total of, I would say, 6 to 10 hours to get a really good essay. And they don't have to be long. They're usually just 1.5 pages to maybe 2 pages. But really making sure that every word counts is sort of the trick to it. But say you win $1,000 for 10 hours. I mean, that is a great return on investment right there. We have it linked here. We have this writing a winning scholarship essay. I worked with an advisor from Mount San Antonio College here in LA County. I'm in LA. And we put together sort of a step-by-step guide on how to brainstorm, what to include, what not to include, things like that. Another interesting thing to look at too is this, what's your hero's journey? There is a theory about literature and stories, right? That says a lot of stories and a lot of movies and a lot of books are based on a 12-step hero's journey. And we all have our own hero's journey, and maybe writing about that hero's journey would make a great essay. So watch that video. That's a structure of a hero's story that might stimulate some ideas for you. A few tips. Don't ever compose an essay and submit it at the same time. Don't compose it on the scholarship application. You need to do it in Word, in paragraph format, and then revise it the next day after you slept on it and you thought about it a little more, and then have people look at it, review it, proofread it, use your writing center, use your English faculty, and then definitely don't start the night before. That is enough time. I would start writing essays a good personal essay before I even started to apply to scholarships. Once you go to the scholarship application, you'll have to tweak the essay so that it answers the question of that the scholarship prompt is asking for, but it's all about your story usually, right? I just spent their scholarships. I can't emphasize enough that you should be applying to everything you possibly can. I'm also going to go into the second part of this presentation, which is about raising funds to study abroad. We have a lot of students that also dedicate a lot of time and effort into creative funding ideas. A lot of them have shared their ideas with us, and I wanted to we put them all here in a few slides, and I wanted to share them. But the three bases are changing your lifestyle right now, between now and when you go abroad, to sort of save on expenses, virtual ideas, things that you can do from the comfort of your home that will raise money, and also crowdfunding. Definitely, I know that a lot of financial people who know about finance and saving money, and there's one financial guru who's on PBS a lot. Her name is Susie Orman, and she says the best way to increase your bank balance in the shortest amount of time is to stop your spending. The best way is to start looking at your habits and cut down on current expenses. Where can you cut corners? How can you save? So instead of going to Starbucks every day, buy a coffee maker and make your own coffee. I know something that hurts your heart, but it is so much better. Stop eating out, start cooking, right? Eat leftovers. Avoid the temptation of buying unnecessarily online. I know that Amazon and I now have an intimate relationship since this pandemic started. I get it, but I have an advisor who always says, I'd rather eat top ramen in Bali, for example, or in Florence, than eat steak in Pomona. So start, stop cut corners on eating out all the time and spending, and so that you can go out and have a ball when you're abroad. Get a part-time job if you're not working already, or is there any way that you can change your job so that you're making more per hour? We had one student who decided to do overnight hours, extra overtime, took on a second job doing food delivery with like Postmates and those kinds of services. Stop a bad habit. I mean, you should stop a bad habit regardless, like smoking or so much soda, and put all of that money that you would have put toward that habit in a travel fund jar. Ask family for gifts of money or travel related gifts like luggage or passport cover or things like that for holidays, birthdays. One of the things that the pandemic has afforded us is the gift of time, right? So we are able to think about our study abroad long term. So now's a great time to really start saving. You definitely need to use your network. You definitely have to ask for help. Talk to everybody about what your plan is. All of your friends, all of your people in your community, religious organizations, on your sports teams, family, friends of family, everybody should know that you are going abroad, what the program is like, and how they can help you. You got to ask for help, guys. I know that I have lots of nieces and nephews, and when they come to me with donations for their teams or donations for a trip, I, as their aunt, are more than happy to give them those kinds of contributions. I want to support their educational dreams and their goals. Definitely tell your story. Talk about who you are, what your major is, where you're studying, where you want to be in the future, and then why study abroad is so important to you and how it will impact your future. There are a lot of studies on the learning outcomes and the educational outcomes and the future outcomes of study abroad. UC Merced has on their study abroad website, if you Google UC Merced study abroad statistics, they give you, they cite a lot of interesting statistics that these studies have said, like you're twice as likely to hear you're hired with study abroad on your resume. So give people statistics, how much this will benefit you and your future. Definitely talk up your program, post photos, fun facts about the city, country, and program. Make your Facebook cover photo of your country. Put down your funding info, tell them you have Venmo to message you and you'll give them the details, that kind of thing. Disclose how the funds will be used and why, and then keep posting, because not everybody sees everything that you post the first time, okay? Crowdfunding sites, consider doing one of those. There are several, and we know that some take more of a percentage than others. So definitely look into that. If you look on GoFundMe, there are a lot of examples of students that are telling their story and asking for support for study abroad. So looking at other students' pages might give you ideas of what to do and help you really build a really good site. And then your study abroad resources there at Santa Barbara City College, use that network as well. So if you're planning a FundMyTravel.com, which is the site that Nicole likes, be sure to collaborate with Nicole. She'll repost your social media fundraising efforts, which is fantastic that she's able to do that. Not all schools do. So make sure that you're working with Nicole so that she can help you get as much promotion as possible. And that's it for me. I'm gonna stop sharing. And if we have any questions or thoughts, and I'm sorry I have been getting pinged by people in another meeting all the time through this. I hope it wasn't too loud. If we have any questions or anything.
Where would we be able to find the slideshow with all the links?
So I'm going to send it to you so that you can share it with anyone who wants it.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. And then Joanna, would you like to move forward?
Yeah, so we have now been coming to the end of this webinar, so we will have a Q&A session for everyone to ask all of their questions to everyone who works with the programs and to students who has previously been studying abroad.
We covered a lot. I know this is a little overwhelming.
And I just want to share that I have two students, Jack and Callie, who were on the spring 2019 Bali study abroad. So they're available to talk about their experience. Thank you for coming, you two.
Yes, thank you for being here. And I actually have a question for you guys. So being in Bali, did you guys, have a culture shock? And, if you guys did, how did you deal with it? I know I have some friends who didn't study abroad, but they did go off to other colleges. And when they came back, they would talk to me and say, the culture shock, it was real and it was very overwhelming. So do you guys, have any tips on how to deal with that?
I mean, the culture shock was definitely there. I feel like for me personally, it wasn't as bad, or I guess it was easier for me to adjust because, I mean, I was fortunate enough to kind of grow up with sort of traveling, so I had sort of experience with other cultures already, so it wasn't that bad for me. I don't really know how bad it was for Callie though.
I honestly didn't have that much traveling experience beforehand, but I think that I had read so much and prepared myself for such a different scenario. Like in my mind, I had prepped for like no bathrooms at all, kind of like an extreme situation, didn't know that we were going to be staying in such a nice area, that when I actually did arrive, my culture shock was not as bad because we were in, like, the accommodations were if I was on vacation. So, but I also had read a lot beforehand and like prepared, so I think that helped me a lot.
All right, thank you.
I have a general question for all the programs. So can you only take the classes that are listed in the like on the SBCC website under each of the programs? That's like a couple of the classes. Are those the only ones you can take while you're studying abroad?
I guess I'll jump in since that's a more question for all the programs. So yes, our academic programs are always a mixture of the destination, the program director and the courses that are being offered. So they're not a la carte where you can say that, oh, I'm going to go to France and I'm going to take some music classes, for example. They're all faculty-led programs, which means that SBCC professors are taking the students over there, and therefore only the classes that are being listed on the page with the program are the courses that you can take. Now, if there is a case where you have already taken one of the classes that are being offered on the program, then we can usually find an alternative and work with the student, but that will all be kind of answered on a case-to-case basis.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I have a quick question for all the programs. So, would your students go and travel around Europe on weekends, or is that even allowed? Because I know my sister did that.
I'll leap into that. When I did Madrid, we scheduled the classes so that the first class students took was Monday afternoon, and the last class they took was Thursday morning. And that was so that they could travel Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And that's part of the goal of study abroad, is that you really go out and you get to go places. If you're in Europe, it's, I don't know, I mean, who knows right now, but I had friends visit me in Madrid from London, and their fare cost them round trip 20 pounds. So about $23, $24. So it's highly encouraged. I don't know about Bali though, Michelle, where are students going?
So the Bali program is really different in this sense because there are visa restrictions for Indonesia. So we can only be in country for 2 months. So the program is a bit more compressed. So we don't have a lot of extra days to do that kind of personal travel. It's also a small, but it takes longer to get around because it's not the infrastructure of a first world country. So we don't actually encourage students to leave the towns that we're in. And, you know, we have days off where people explore more deeply the places that we are, but we're traveling around together so much and seeing so much of the island. And what we found is generally the students are really loving just being together and having more time in each spot. Callie or Jack, do you want to say anything about that from your perspectives as students?
I found that we were moving so much and we got to change scenery that I didn't ever feel like I wanted to go explore more off on my own.
I mean, kind of building off that, I mean, we were moving a lot, we were doing so much that whenever we did get a day off, it was, I mean, some people did, you know, take a taxi or whatever and explore a little bit more, but I feel like most people just kind of took that day to rest and, you know, just relax wherever we were.
There was a question in the chat for Callie or Jack about your favorite part of the experience, or even speaking about language barriers, if you want to.
I feel like in Bali, a lot of the people there, at least where we went, spoke a decent amount of English so that we could communicate with them to some degree. And as far as my favorite experience, it would probably be scuba diving with the manta rays.
Yeah, the only language barrier I ran into was I have a lot of food restrictions. So I had to be careful with communicating about food preferences. But other than that, we were really able to communicate with most everyone we met. And favorite experience would have to be every day snorkeling. Every single day, I couldn't pick one.
And just, so obviously in the UK and Europe, most people speak English. My students in Madrid only went to one place where one student couldn't find anyone that spoke English and really truly had a language barrier. She didn't speak French or German. She spoke English and Spanish. They didn't speak English or Spanish. And so that was the only time. But most of the time you can find people to speak English.
I have like a question about financial aid for international students. Are they eligible for everything that American students are?
I'm not sure if I think I'm on. Yeah, I'm not sure if Nicole wants to answer this, or I know based on my experience with financial aid, for federal financial aid, you have to be a U.S. student or have a permanent residence card. As far as state aid, and institutional aid, that depends on the school and the state, but I think California the same.
Yeah, I'll jump in there a little
Yeah,
bit.
please
So,
do.
yeah, so I mean, the best advice I could give you is to actually talk to Ivana in the financial aid office, because she's the scholarship coordinator and she has all the ins and outs and the details about that. There are, however, there are scholarships that international students can apply for. So if you are a current SBCC student and you go through the scholarship application at SBCC, you will automatically be submitted to any scholarship that you are eligible for. And that doesn't only mean the study abroad scholarships that are specifically for study abroad. You could get submitted for departmental scholarships that you can use on the study abroad program. There's many scholarships from the School of Modern Languages that you could use, right, for the England program, for the Italy program. So I definitely encourage you to apply for scholarships if you're an international student, because not all of them are financial need based, which in some instance means that the tax returns from the parents, right? They are sometimes merit based. So definitely go and apply. Like Paula was saying, it's a numbers game, right? The more scholarships you apply for, the more money you will end up with most likely. So definitely encourage you to, as she says, apply. And yes, you can apply for scholarships as international student.
So kind of jumping off that question, are you limited in how much scholarship or financial aid that you're able to receive if you've already received other help like the Pell Grant or the Cal Grant?
No, I can't answer the question for financial aid itself. That again would be a question for your financial aid advisor. In terms of scholarships, no, there is really no limit. If you apply for 20 scholarships, you receive 10 and you end up with $20,000, good for you. I've had students that have received several scholarships, just like 2 years ago for a summer program. And she decided that she was going to extend her stay and she used the extra money to travel a little bit on her own after the program ended.
Great, thank you.
I actually had a specific question about London, and we didn't go over what is the housing situation for London.
So you have two choices, and Paula, feel free to leap in whenever you want. What's covered is a homestay. So you stay with a UK family in their home. This is pretty much straight north of the center of London. It'll take you maybe 45 minutes to an hour to commute. You'll share that bedroom with another SBCC student. That comes with breakfast 5 days a week and kitchen privileges. I think that is a really great opportunity to see how people really live. From the Spain program, there was only one student that chose homestay, and she had an entirely different vision of Spain than the other students. If you don't want to do that, then there's a supplement, and Paula can give me the details on that.
I cannot remember the amount, but I know it's on the program details on the website. Maybe Nicole is looking it up for me.
$1,200 more. And what you get is basically, so don't think apartment, think more like a really fabulous dorm room that you would share with someone with a sort of an IKEA-like efficiency, sort of one straight shot kitchen cabinet, cooktop kind of thing. Paula, you some great descriptions about the apartment, but
Yeah,
those are the
so
apartments.
the price difference is really about location, right? That's what they see about real estate. It's location, location, location. And your study center is in Kensington, the Royal Borough of Kensington, which is in the heart of London. And the building where your what we call apartments, student apartments, dorms, is an 8-minute walk from there. So you are in the heart of London and you have this very central location. We always want you to think small because you don't have the space that you would even have in a US dorm. They are quite small, but they are lovely. They're really furnished really cutely. And you do have this little kitchen that you can, definitely make some home style group meals with the other people that live in the dorm and save on money with that.
And so you can see Nicole dropped in the $1,700. Yeah. Okay.
It's all because you're right in the heart of London, and that's why. And you do have a transport pass, right, with your London program. So you'll have a tube pass that is good for unlimited use for the duration of the program. So you'll use it to get to your homestay if you choose that, and back to class, and to do the classes that when you're out on field trips and activities and academic visits. When you just want to, explore on your own, you'll be able to use this pass, and you'll have it for the whole program.
And also, second question, how cold is it actually? Because we will be there during a very, the fall winter months. So mentally to prepare for something like that. I'm a California girl, so.
Yeah, prepare for a bad California winter is about what you're looking at. It's averages probably around 48 to 55. It can be a decent day, and then occasionally, very, very occasionally, rarely will it snow in London. So, we're not sending you to Scotland. We're sending you to London, and the Gulf Stream is still somewhat working. And so it's pretty temperate. It will rain, but and that's always fun because you shouldn't wear cotton in the rain. So sweatshirts, not a good idea, but impermeable fabrics, a good idea. But it's not uncomfortable. You'll probably end up with a pair of rain boots to bring home.
Cool.
Yeah.
Going off that question, how much clothing do the students normally take? And do they buy any clothing out there?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of clothing buying going on in Madrid. I would say pack light. You're in London, there's a ton of shops for new, a ton of vintage shops. There are really cute, really cool little markets. In my weird Apple generated image, there were all of those beautiful gloves for 15 pounds, so about $18, leather gloves. So I would say go light and plan and bring a decent sized suitcase that's not very full, and by the time you leave it will be full. The clothes are not particularly expensive. I mean, you can certainly spend a lot of money in London. You don't have to.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. I always chuckle when I hear the question, because the question does come up a lot, especially shortly before you have to get ready and pack, and suddenly you're like, how do I even pack for 3 months? And just know that there will be a pre-departure meeting for every program that's going out. And every pre-departure program, we say, pack lightly. You will buy things over there. You don't need as much clothing as you really think you do. And for those few that do not believe us, they pay a lot of money to bring home 3 suitcases because they left with 1 full one and then they come home with 3. So when we say pack lightly, you will be okay.
I mean, it could be worse than, having to buy something in, Bali or London or Paris or wherever you happen to be.
Yeah, and I think this time around also you'll be helping the economy in the country. I think they all can need it, especially when you go back to Bali, when you go over to London, any of the destinations we're going to. I think all the businesses will be happy that you're coming to visit, and that you will bring things home to show to your friends and family. And so it's a good thing.
It is, and bonus in Bali, things are really inexpensive. So you can buy yourself some beautiful sarongs and fabrics for a couple of dollars. So I think several students left with an extra suitcase full of gorgeous clothing and artwork. And remember, Callie brought this beautiful fabric thing for her wall. It's probably behind her somewhere. It only costs about $1 to actually have an amazing meal too.
And then I also wanted to let everyone know that I did share some links that Paula gave me for funding your study abroad, getting started, and the winning scholarship essay. And they're in the chat below.
I'm not sure if there's any more like specific questions that students have right now. I put together a little bit of a frequently asked questions list. If you're interested in that, I can kind of go over a few things that we get asked a lot, that the program directors get asked a lot, that you might not think about right now.
Yes, sounds good. We would love to hear it.
First of all, I want to say thank you, Kellyanne, and all the ambassadors for even putting this event on. I'm really excited that you decided to do this. And thank you, Melanie and Michelle and David, who's no longer here to even come and help, and Paula to help out with that. And it's good that we spend a chunk of time with Paula, because financial aid, scholarships, financing the program is the #1 question, always. Everybody's always worried. A lot of students are like, I really don't have a lot of money. How am I going to afford this? It sounds really expensive. And then once they look over it and see that your housing is included, for example, right, which would be a big chunk if you're living in Santa Barbara specifically, they realize that comparable to living here in Santa Barbara, it actually is not that much more. And then there's so much support. So yeah, finances, definitely the #1 question for everything. We also get asked all the time what kind of programs you have. So obviously the program directors already went over the specifics of the programs we currently have. But just generally, we have semester programs, and we do usually have summer programs, short programs that are in the summer break or in the winter break. And the programs do change every year. So I encourage students that if they see a specific program with a specific program director that's offering a specific destinations that you love, and that's offering specific courses that you love, take it this year, because it might not come up again next year. We might have destinations that repeat, but they could be with a different professor. And that would also mean that they come with different courses. So if there's something that catches your eye that's very specific about the program, don't hesitate, don't wait. It might not come up the next year or while you're here at SBCC. The other question I very often get is, do I have to be an SBCC student to do this? Do I have to go to school here in order to apply? And you don't. So you can apply. It doesn't matter if you go to Moorpark College, Cuesta, if you go to the UCSB. We actually do have frequently have students that already transferred come back for a program, just because the cost difference is quite a bit. We're sometimes half the price, sometimes even like only 1/3 of the price than what students are paying at the four-year university. So let me see, there's a few more questions that come up very frequently. So either way, you don't have to go to SBCC in order to apply. Once you're accepted, once the program is moving forward, you will enroll at SBCC for that semester that you're abroad with us. But then after that, you can just return to your home institution, or transfer, whichever your plan is. Another question that comes up very frequently, I think some of the professors already brought it up as the minimum requirements. They are different depending on a semester program or a short program. I know right now we only have the semester programs, and the requirements are the 2.5 minimum GPA. You have to be 18, you have to be in good academic standing. You have to successfully complete the application process on time. The short programs only require that you are 18 years or older at the time the program leaves, and that you are successfully completing the application process. So these additional requirements are only for semester programs. One additional requirement that I don't think has come up yet for the semester is that you have to have 12 college level units completed, and you don't have to have them completed here at SBCC. It just needs to be college level 12. Another question that comes up quite frequently, let me see, is do I have to have a major? So do I have to be a science major or anything like that in order to go on a program? You do not. There's no major requirement for any of our programs. There's no language requirement on any of our programs. And we are really trying to put the programs together in a way that, you know, most students can take the courses. So it's not like you have to be a, you know, a professional in STEM already and know everything about science or anything in order to take a STEM course on the programs. They're usually fairly basic in order to cover some of those transferable units, so your transfer requirements. Trying to think, there's another question that comes up regarding the courses, if you have already taken them. I feel like I got the question a lot per email today, so I'm sorry if that was already answered in the event, during the event. But you do have to register for the courses that are being offered on each program. So there's no a la carte putting together a program. You would be taking the classes that are being offered. Sometimes if there's an overlap because you already took a course, the professors will work with you to maybe come up with an alternative. Or you might be able to take an online class instead. You just need to make sure that they're fully online, of course, and don't have exams. Where you have to come to the SBCC campus, because obviously that wouldn't work. The program directors already answered like where students are living, so that's very different on every program. As you heard from Melanie, there's Homestay. Rome, you'll be living in student housing. Michelle, Bali, you will be, you know, kind of in resorts and locations like that. The summer programs are often moving a lot. So the next summer program that's coming up from the last summer, deferred, is going to Germany, Austria, and the Netherlands. And you will be, you know, a few days here, a few days there. So you move around quite a bit. And in those cases, you would be staying at hotels. When can I apply for programs is something that students always ask. Basically, as soon as the application and everything is online, you're able to apply. The deadlines are different for each program. So definitely check out when is that application deadline. And remember that deadline just means the very last day you can apply. It does not mean wait until the day of that date and apply. And especially for programs such as Bali and many other programs, they will fill way before the application deadline. So do not wait. We do have waiting lists. That's another question. Do we have waiting lists? Yes, we do. Once we reach our maximum on each individual program, and that number can also vary by program, we start a waiting list. And there is a good chance, at least for the first few, to get into the program from that waiting list. For example, with Bali, we had basically like over 40 applications. There was a lot of, so the first time we did the program, not right now yet, we're getting there. You know, we had quite a long waiting list, and there were about, I think, if I remember correctly, about 6 students that did drop out by the time that the program actually happened. And so there were almost 6 students from the waiting list that could go on the program because of that. So don't be discouraged if you see that any of the programs get on the waiting list. You can still possibly get on the program because students do cancel out for various reasons. Sometimes scholarships don't come through and they counted on it. Sometimes something happens in your life that you decide you can no longer go. Trying to see, there's a lot of things that the program directors and Paula already went over, which is awesome. So I'm gonna just skip all these things. Can I go on more than one program? That question comes up quite a bit, because then often they're like, you're going to Japan again next summer, but I wanted to go to Rome in the spring. And I actually was thinking about going to Australia in the winter, but that London program sounds really good too. The short answer is yes, you can go on more than one program. Obviously it's not simultaneously, but you could theoretically start off with, you know, the summer in Japan and then go to, let me see, I did a scenario. You can go to the summer in Japan and then you can move on to London in the fall, Australia in the winter, Bali in the spring, and then go to Ireland in the summer. You can be the whole year abroad if you're financially able to manage that. The only thing you need to be aware of is that within the Schengen area, which is most of the countries that are part of Europe, you can only be there for a total of 90 days, okay? And then you have to leave for 180 days. So be very careful not to overstay your welcome in Europe, because you could possibly be told that you can not return again to Europe if you stay more than the 90 days. And every time you leave the Schengen area, they will take that off on your passport. So you can, you know, go and visit and jump around a little bit, but you can't overstay more than 90 days. So that's actually a big question that students are asking about. I also often get asked who should be writing my recommendations. So the semester programs, as I said, they require 2 recommendations. One of the recommendations should be from a professor. If you're at SBCC, obviously, preferably an SBCC professor. The second recommendation can also be from a different professor. It could be from a supervisor at work. It could be from a longstanding family friend, someone who knows you really well. No family members, immediate family members, of course, boyfriends, girlfriends, that won't work. But other than that, yeah, supervisors, professors, longstanding family friends will work. I would say that those are probably the most common questions we're getting.
All right, this was so great, and I'm so happy this happened. I'm so happy that everyone was able to participate and join, and a lot of information was said here. So I did, in the chat, I did put up some links. I also put up the Funding Your Study Abroad presentation if you guys want to take a look with all the links. And, you know, thank you to our presentation, our presenters, and the people that were able to join. It was so fun seeing you and having this experience with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you for making this happen.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Right.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Much for
you.
the students that joined in.